Welcome, everyone. Um, we're very excited to have you here and to have you as ambassadors for the Schweickart Prize. Um, our outreach ambassadors are going to be crucial to the success of the prize. Just really excited to see all this turnout. I think we can start the presentation. So again, welcome and thank you. Um, on B612 20th anniversary on Asteroid Day this year, we launched the prize, and we're really excited to have you guys on board. So I want you to meet the team that is going to be primarily involved in the prize. So, of course, Rusty Schweickart. So our Apollo 9 astronaut, first chair of the Energy Commission, and the creator of the Association of Space Explorers, like so many of you know. Randy Schweickart, brilliant engineer, one of his wonderful sons, and the chair of the Schweickart Prize. And me, Rachel Momperousse, and the manager for the Schweickart Prize. So on the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what we're trying to do here. So Rusty's passion has been about protecting the planet from asteroid impact, and this prize is to inspire future leaders in this niche area of planetary defense. And so we want candidates from engineering, science, policy, law, education, and communication to apply and to really dive into that area that we're hoping to see grow. The prize we're offering is a $10,000 cash prize. It has a physical prize with an actual meteorite on it, and a $10,000 cash part, as well as public exposure for the winner and a global press campaign. Our prize is funded for over the next 5 years, and we're just really excited to be able to open it up globally. Um, if you want to go to the next slide, Colleen, over to you, Randy.
Thanks, Rachel. Really appreciate it. First of all, I want to personally thank all of the ambassadors, certainly the ones on this line, and also for the recording to all the others who have volunteered. It is so fabulous to have you all on board. And thank you so much for volunteering to help out the Schweickart Prize. As Rachel mentioned, what we're calling the outreach ambassadors provide two fairly crucial functions to make sure that we find the best candidates that we can possibly find for awarding the Schweickart Prize. It's important, especially in this inaugural year, that we get as many ambassadors on board so that we can reach out. And it's very important to understand that this is intended to be an international prize. And as an international prize, we clearly have to have even larger network of ambassadors who can help us reach out and find potential candidates. So that first critical function that the ambassadors provide is this outreach, both providing information to prospective programs, astronomy programs, legal schools, other programs that have PD-related fields. And so it's very important to be able to get that information to them. And also, for many of you, you know about students or programs, universities that you're related to, and or your other fields in which you are experts know about students and programs that are, in fact, are PD related, and those where we want you to direct your attention to providing information to those particular programs and or students. So that's the first part that we need to have happen, and that's what we're developing right now, is this network of ambassadors to do the outreach phase of the program. The next thing that we're looking for once we start to get applications from our graduate students is an advising role. And in that advising role, we need to get their questions answered. We also need to make sure that they know about the application materials. And we're hoping that you all can serve in this role of advising the graduate students if they have these questions. They can certainly send those questions into B612 and the Schweickart Prize organization. That is fine. But having someone perhaps that they're familiar with, someone that is an advocate for them, is also helpful to have on board to help them answer those questions. So with that, let's move to the next slide, and I'll have my dad join in here and talk about proposals.
Okay, thanks. What, of course, are we looking for? That's really the question. What kind of a proposal would be, competitive and interesting for students to come out with? So again, it's great to recognize that the overall objective is to materially improve the current planetary defense capability. So what we're looking for is, young minds, clever, innovative ideas, concepts, and they can be either, the technical issues of discovering asteroids and tracking them and predicting impacts and that kind of thing, or deflection, also a technical issue. And things like the gravity tractor, for example, have not been tested yet. Those interesting ideas can be presented there. But then there's a whole host of things which are, non-technical, and those are the geopolitical, socio-political, risk management, those kinds of things, and those legal issues as well. So there are a whole host of issues which have not gotten a great deal of attention up until now, and we would like to make sure that the Schweickart Prize incentivizes those as well. We're probably a little bit focused the first year of the prize here on the technical issues. We're going to have more resources for people coming up on the 2025 prize and with the 2024. And to help people understand what kinds of things we're looking for, rather than try to put a bunch of words together to describe it, what I've done is create a set of examples, and that's present on as a PDF on the website itself. There's the link that you can see here. And at the bottom of those examples, which are both technical and non-technical, but give people an idea of it, there's a list of key planetary defense references. That's a very extensive list of places in the world that if you're not familiar with planetary defense, or if you want to know what the current state of the technology and the capability is, those references are very important to someone who wants to get into the rabbit hole of, so what does planetary defense capability look like today? And then I'll be updating those examples and probably the resources as well, if any of you want to suggest additional resources that you don't see there when you get to the bottom of that, the current page. So with that, let's go on to the next slide, and back to you, Randy.
Thanks, Dad. So this is just a layout of the key logistics associated with the Schweickart Prize. The first is a very simple timeline. We're looking for the preliminary applications that the students would be sending in now, as soon as possible. In fact, we'd love to see those. And then there will be a final application that we'll talk a little bit about. And we're looking for that to be completed sent in by February 15th of next year. We can talk a little bit about that time and whether we might let that slip, especially in this inaugural year, as it's taken time to set up the network. But we're going to wait until we see how many applications we have in at that time before we make a decision. And finally, on Asteroid Day of 2024, June 30th, this is when the award announcement is planned. In terms of the applications, we have split this into a two-part application process. The first part, the preliminary application, is really to ensure that we have legitimacy in our candidates. We were a little bit worried about people who really have no legitimacy associated with planetary defense sending in and applying for the program. So we decided that what we wanted to do to have basically an advisor to help send in a specific letter of recommendation for a particular candidate. And in this particular case, we are having information provided about the student themselves, the degrees that they have, the degree program that they're in, the related PD field, the proof of work, which would just be a list of papers or work that has been done that can be reviewed, and then a nominee statement of why they feel that they should be included in the awarding of the prize. But specifically, this is about the legitimacy of the candidate. The final application is the key information that will be used in terms of judging for the winner of the prize. And this would include a second letter of recommendation. There could be a third if that was appropriate, but a second one. And we're asking that at least one of those letters of recommendation be from a subject matter expert, that is not just assessing the student per se, but assessing the information, the innovative ideas that they are providing. A career aspiration statement is important for us because we are looking at leadership as well as very good ideas, innovative ideas. We're also looking at the leadership of our potential winners. The planetary defense proposal is the core part of the application. This is where we're expecting the candidate to provide the innovative, the key idea that they have in mind or program. And then finally, CV, resume, and the academic transcript to round out the full application that we're looking for. So that's the basic layout of the expectations we have of the students and what they'll provide. With that, I'll hand back over to Rachel in the next slide.
Thank you so much. So I just wanted to quickly mention the people who made this prize possible. This prize exists and came from vision to reality thanks to Anousheh Ansari, the Baringer Crater Company, the B612 Foundation, of course, Future Ventures, Jeffrey Nutkin, Jorvetson Family Foundation, Meteor Crater, Randy Schweickart and Michelle Hang, Rusty B. Schweickart, and Joan Keys. So thank you so much to our generous helpers and prize sponsors. Now let's answer some questions. I'm excited to hear any questions and support our ambassadors.
Looks like
Can I
Derek.
ask a question?
Yes.
This like all sounds really good. Thank you for the presentation. I think I have like a quick question about the difference between the preliminary application, the final application. Like, is there gonna be a decision after the preliminary application, and is there a timeline for it?
So I'll answer that, Rachel, if that's okay. So yes, thank you so much. Yes, that's exactly right. So our expectation is that we would be responding to the preliminary application with essentially a letter from the Schweickart Prize organization, B612, saying, thank you so much. We appreciate you applying, and we'd love for you to move forward with moving on to the final application. That will be basically done on a rolling basis. That is, we hope to be able to respond fairly quickly to the receipt of the preliminary application so that we can get the student moving on to the final application as soon as possible. But that's exactly right. We are expecting to send out and have receipt of the student to notify them to move on to that final application rather than just to simply move forward without hearing anything from us.
Julie, let's get one from her because she's got to disappear.
Thank you for the presentation. I suspect that the announcement of the prize will be done in Luxembourg. Is that correct? Are you going to be there for Asteroid Day?
We're not certain about where the actual award will happen. It may be in country, it may be in San Francisco, it may be in Luxembourg. Well, that's a TBD.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Second question, very quickly. I'd like to distribute this information to universities in Canada that are French-speaking universities. So, do you trust me with translating some of this material, or would you like to check that before I send it out?
I would say absolutely fully trusted. If you want me to do it or help in any way,
yes,
time reasons, I'm happy to.
Rachel,
I think given Rachel's last name, you got to help her there.
Yes,
Julie.
well, particularly, I'm very lucky. Pedro and others will have to translate. But Rachel, if you can just get me a paragraph,
okay,
of the way you like it en français, then I will be able to do just click send with a link, and this will go to most of the universities in Canada.
Wonderful. We'll do it.
And then we'll see if you get applications.
In fact, if you have
some sort of template for sending out a message like Twitter or something,
Very good idea.
then we could translate this thing that is short, and that we could do immediately, because you're already accepting applications now. So we need to be promoting it like a month ago.
Yeah,
Right.
so just a link where we just forward, yeah? I would forward to and say, here is an announcement from the Rusty Schweickart Foundation and B12. And
Sounds great. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. That's the flyer, making the flyer multilingual.
and the flyer, where do I find it on the website?
I think we emailed it. We can definitely email it back to you if you didn't receive it. It's
But
not.
that's a good idea, Julie. We could just make the flyer available as a link on the website. Yeah. High quality image of the flyer would be great.
Mm.
Okay.
I think Derek, you had a question on the chat.
Yeah, just a quick clarification regarding the letters of recommendation. It sounds like the preliminary letter, like the letter that goes with the preliminary application, can carry forward to the final application. Did I understand that correctly? Or do you want 2 new ones after that?
I think it's fine for the second letter recommendation or the final application to simply have 2 letters of recommendation, of which one is the first one. Again, the only key difference is that we'd like in the second one to at least have someone talking about the expertise or the legitimacy of the idea itself, not just the legitimacy of the candidate, which of course the first one is more focused on. But if there's 3, fantastic. There's not a problem with having 3, but I think it is personally reasonable to expect to see 2 in the final application, of which one was from the first.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I had a question, and I apologize for not having my camera. I'm not really in a place I can do that at the moment. What are the qualifications of the student? If you could remind me, like, where in their career do they need to be?
So we're looking primarily for grad students or for students who have graduated within the past year from a graduate degree.
Sorry, say that again.
We're looking for graduate students or students who have graduated from a graduate degree in the past year.
Okay. So in graduate school at some level, and
Yes.
at least no more than 1 year out. Got it.
Yes,
Thank you.
and I think the idea is over the years, and Rusty, please cut me and add if I miss something, is to open it up to more young professionals, but we're starting with grad students right now.
Oh, actually, I have some questions regarding that requirement because I know some very intelligent, very good undergrad who has been working on similar concepts. I mean, they're at last year of undergrad, but is that something excluded or
They'll be happy to win the prize the following year when they go to grad school.
Yeah, then we could, yeah,
Really
that's
close.
good. That's good. Yeah.
Yes. Kathy, I think you've been, sorry,
Yes,
just
no, that's okay. That's okay. A question about the advisory role that you'd like us to play. Is this specifically with the applicants that we have contacted and encouraged to apply, or are you going to send us other applicants to load level, or how do you want to do that?
No, it would be the applicants you're in contact with.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
But Kathy does raise an interesting question. If a student an applicant has a more technical question, I think if you let them know, or if you contacted us, we could refer them to a discipline specialist, a discipline ambassador. That's a very interesting thought, because the outreach ambassadors may not have the capability themselves or even knowledge themselves of an appropriate discipline expert. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for that question, Kathy.
Sure. Okay, and happy to be a discipline expert for computational modeling if that's useful.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would be good. Rachel, that's probably a good thing too. If the ambassador, we should query the ambassadors for their particular expertise, if they feel they have one, in the nature of their expertise, so that we know which ambassadors have what skills. That's a good point. Yeah.
Sounds good.
And let's see, Bob Morris had his hand up. Bob, you get a question?
Yeah, I had a couple. One of them was to do with the fact that I sent this question in before. As I'm from the UK, I just wondered if there were any other ambassadors in the UK or in regions, so the ambassadors knew where they were, so there'd be no duplication of effort.
Well, we don't mind duplication, number one.
Yeah.
The more the merrier. And to specifically answer your question, Rachel can probably be more comprehensive, but I do know that Helen Sharma has expressed her interest in being an ambassador. So that's at least one other in the UK that I know of. Maybe there are more, that Danica or Rachel.
No, that was exactly who I was wanted to call out, because I think, isn't she affiliated also with the Imperial College? I can't remember what her note said.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Royal College of London. Yes.
Yeah.
Could it be possible to put us in touch with one another? I've met her in the past, but I don't have her contact details. So it's silly two people, contacting the same people. And then secondly, will you put something on LinkedIn as well as Twitter? Will something go onto LinkedIn as people raised the point earlier about promoting this?
We can. I'm taking notes. I will. Danica, I don't know what you think about that, about having.
Yeah, no. I think it's a great idea. One of the questions that I think we haven't fully resolved is, we're I'm Danica Prunariu, president of E612 Foundation, which is where this prize is being organized out of. What we haven't sort of figured out is, we would like you all to feel like you want to promote the fact that you are ambassadors to the Schweickart Prize. And so, maybe on LinkedIn, and I have to talk with Colleen, maybe we have a separate Schweickart Ambassador Prize, a program of B612, and all of you can be kind of connected as an ambassador, put your title on LinkedIn, in addition to any promotion that we'll do on LinkedIn about the prize and the inaugural process.
Yeah, Danica, the only issue there is that people ought to be thoughtful about whether they want their contact widely dispersed. That's a decision you have to make. Or
individuals opt in. Individuals opt in, Rusty.
Yeah, what I was thinking of was something so the individual could say, I'm the contact for this part of the country, part of the world, etc. So for students, because people will have lots of followers, so for students, I personally would say, look, I'm a contact for the north of England and Wales or whatever. And if there's only two of us in the UK, and Helen Sharma would say, I'm the contact for this area. Mm-hmm. And there was something I think I sent through before, Rachel, as well. And as I wondered where the flyer itself could have a version that had somewhere underneath where it said for local contact, because people still go into libraries and still have notice boards in particular places in universities. And you might know some people in the university, but not all of them. So if the flyer went on a notice board, there'd be space to say for local contact, or your local ambassador is, and then we could put the ambassador could put their details on it, so the students would know who to contact.
Good idea, Bob.
Great idea.
Morgan's got a hand up for a while.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I forgot to mention I'm from University of Central Florida when I was introducing myself. I did have a question. Forgive me if I kind of missed it. Can we go over the pre-application to the final application? Like I see things like nominee statement. How long are these statements? And what's like the turnaround for getting approved for that final application?
So the statements that we have identified are typically 500 words or less. I think they all pretty much say 500 words in the on the website is how where we provide the link. So I think that they're all 500 words or less. So nothing really extensive is necessary. And again, the timeline that we're looking at is to be able to respond quite rapidly. We had originally said something like 5 to 10 working days is when we're looking to respond. We sort of took that down after we weren't sure exactly what the process would be and when and so forth. But that is the idea. We obviously, if we have someone who is a legitimate candidate, we want them to get us a final application as soon as possible. So we are definitely going to turn that around. So let me just say, for argument's sake, that our timeline would be 5 to 10 business days to expect the receipt after receipt of the preliminary application.
And Randy, I think we should point out that in the preliminary application, we're really, again, looking for the legitimacy of the student, that we're not dealing with somebody who's trying to scam the system. And so the description of what they want to do, their project, would be fairly minimal there. I mean, is it a legal issue that they want to address, or a technology issue, whatever, and a little description of it. But in the final application, it's got to qualify for literally enhancing the planetary defense capability. So, I mean, that's a much more serious description of what they want to do. Dorin, you look like you got a question.
One question. So I understand the prize, at least for the first year, is for the graduate students and only for the first years after graduation. Isn't too limited to narrow this time frame for them to find somebody in the first year, or what do you think? I mean, they graduated and the first year, only a very limited period of time. If they graduated 2 or 3 years ago and they have some contributions, what do we do? Or if they are still students in the last years of study and they have some contributions, could they apply, or only next year?
Well, again, I guess Randy, you can jump in as well. But Dorin, I think that one of the thoughts at the upper end was that if someone is embedded within industry somewhere, that you end up with some real issues of potential conflicts if someone has an affiliation with a particular company rather than his or her particular idea. So that was one of the reasons why we wanted to focus on graduate students rather than industry people. On the lower end, again, if we find that in fact the number of applications does not appear to be very large, then we may want to expand it a bit downward. But I think the idea was to have someone who is at the point in their career development where they are making decisions of what direction to go. And undergraduate would be a little bit before that time. So that's the thinking right now, but we are clearly ready to adjust as necessary.
Okay. Catch it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I want to thank everybody for coming on. That's great. We appreciate you guys being ambassadors. Without you, we have no other way to get to the graduate student community. So, and again, as time goes on, I think our interest is twofold. One is to expand the international element, which is a little hard to do the first year. We certainly want to make this a planetary issue. Or planetary invitation and award. And the second issue is in terms of the subject matter, we're going to have better tools for illustrating the non-technical, that is the geopolitical challenges and things that Dorin and I and a number of others are quite familiar with. And those are a little bit underserved at the moment in terms of planetary defense work that's been done. But the first year, we're probably going to end up being technical out of necessity, but that will broaden as we go forward in future years. So keep those people in mind, you know, the lawyers, the socio-politicians and communications people and whatnot. I mean, this is a very, very broad challenge when the planet is confronted with a threatened impact. And everybody is going to be interested in getting their say in things. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Rachel, over to you.
Thank you so much. I think you said it all. Just very grateful and very excited to have so many of you on. We will be in touch with some of the action items follow up from this call. If you have other questions, all the invitation came out of my email address. Feel free to email me, and I'll respond as quickly as possible. And yes, we're just looking forward to having you on board and to see what applicants we get for the prize.
Okay.
Danica, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, or Randy, before we go.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Just appreciate
Just super grateful for the partnership.
Thanks.